Over 6 months has passed since Leclerc's last pole position in Formula 1, but he's finally done it, grabbing his third pole around his home streets of Monte Carlo. Here's a breakdown of how he did it. Going back to before qualifying, we saw some decent pace in the Ferrari during the final 2 practice sessions, with Charles having consistent 1/10 lead to the next car. Of course, we can't take practice as a representative session. Just look at Mercedes, who always look great in practice, but it definitely gives us a representation of their possible race pace, thanks to the long stints they ran in FP2. In other words, this looks like a lockdown win for Leclerc, if they just remain safe and minimize mistakes throughout the race. But with that out of the way, let's go to the breakdown. Heading into turn 1, Leclerc takes more speed into the corner, which makes him suffer on the exit and middle point of the apex. As he has been all weekend, the Ferrari has looked faster than anyone else in the straights. This is likely down to a setup choice, since they seem to struggle more in low speed corners, which is a clear sign of them running possibly less downforce than the rest of the grid, but it isn't a major amount. The straight before turn 3 is where Leclerc is able to take that extra straight line speed and pull out almost a tenth to Piastri. However, of similar style to turn 1, that is, taking too much speed into the corner, makes Leclerc reluctant to get on the gas, allowing Piastri to accelerate much earlier thanks to the more controlled speed he's running. This error's hindrance is felt all the way until the famous hairpin, formerly known as the Lowe's hairpin, where the setup difference between the McLaren and Ferrari really becomes evident. More downforce and confidence in that mid-corner performance is what once again allows Piastri to get on the power quicker than Leclerc, while a small twitch for Piastri in the exit of 6 and the following sequence of 7 and 8 puts a slight fault onto his lap, but nothing major. What is major, however, is the absolute perfection Charles takes turn 8, both the entry, middle phase and exit, along with Piastri sliding and oversteering out of the corner, gives the Monegasque the upper hand, which most crucially of all is followed by the tunnel section, which if you perfect the corner before, you can carry that advantage in, extenuating the upper hand and closing the near 2/10 gap advantage Piastri had. Turn 10 and 11 is where I believe pole was won or lost. Leclerc, having a bad entry into the corner, as he usually did around this lap, put the pole into Piastri's hand, but the Australian made an error of his own, taking too much of the inside curb of 10, pushing his McLaren way wider than it should be, forcing him to take a tighter line into 11, and completely sacrificing his ability to get on the power early, giving him a massive disadvantage into the flat out corner of 12 and the swimming pool section, where the gains are minuscule between drivers thanks to its almost flat out nature. It isn't until turn 16 where this time Leclerc is the one who takes too much of that inside curb in the exact same fashion as Piastri previously. The only thing that saves Charles here is the fact that the run until Larascas turn 17 is not very long at all, only costing him a 10th compared to Piastri's true 10th loss. Everything was completely square all the way until 19, the final corner where the McLaren driver makes his final error of the lap, going slightly wide after pushing the power down at 18, which forces almost half the car to take the curb, unsettling it completely. And if it wasn't for Piastri realizing this and not planning the power fully as he would have liked to, instead going for a delayed and constant acceleration once the car had gripped up, it could have easily ended up in the wall. So it was a small sacrifice that secured his P2 on the grid, but ultimately forced him out of contention for the pole position slot.